Here we are at Reptastic Adventures on this horrible, miserable, rainy day, but obviously it stopped for a brief moment, and that's when I wanted to take some time to film a video for you guys and show you how to properly raise a baby box turtle. I've had a lot of messages that I've gotten over the actually every year I get messages on how do I keep the baby box turtles alive. I'm having trouble, and what do you think of this setup? I get pictures, videos, and I'm sitting there looking like all confused. It doesn't make sense. Why are these people keeping box turtles, baby box turtles, in 4 inches of water with sphagnum moss all through it? They're not water turtles. They are land turtles. Now, yes, they go into the water. Box turtles are aquatic, absolutely, at times, not all the time. There are advanced people or advanced keepers that will raise baby box turtles in water, where they might put a 1/2 inch of water for it so it can stand, but they'll also have an area for it to get completely dry. Because if you don't, they are they're a high risk for getting fungus, and fungus is a big killer with turtles. And water feeds, moisture feeds fungus, so water will make that happen. And we want to try and limit how many times we put these turtles in stressful situations. If we can, we want to make their habitat as natural as possible. Now the one here below me is a real simple setup. I didn't put many artificial plants in here, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is. I use dirt, okay? I use regular dirt from outside. I don't use anything else because this is a natural substrate for them, and if they ingest some of it, they're not going to suffer through impaction, which is when something gets lodged in their gut and they can't pass it, and eventually it ends up killing the animal. So what I have here is I have a water dish, and it's just the lid to a plastic container. I flipped it upside down. It's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe even you can put at most a 1/2 inch of water in there tops, and the turtles can just walk in and out as they please. Now, it's obviously ideal that you keep the water clean, so you got to change this water regularly or as needed. Sometimes the turtles will burrow for a day or two and not even come out, and then you might not have to change the water. So as you can see, I got an artificial plant here. I got this little log. Believe it or not, there's 4 turtles in here, and they're hiding. This is we got an eastern box turtle, a little baby eastern box turtle that I hatched here. Pretty nice coloration. We got a Florida box turtle. See the difference there? Now they're black and they got the solid yellow line there. And then what else we got? We got a 3-toed and a Gulf Coast. Here's the Gulf Coast box turtle, a panhandle Gulf Coast. You can see the difference between the few of them. There's the 3-toed. So as you can see, this turtle burrowed underneath that log or stick, whatever you want to call it, bark. And they'll do that just to feel less vulnerable from predators. There's obviously predators in the wild. They know this. They're scared. They want to stay safe, so they want to try and feel comfortable and protected, and they're going to hide under a lot of things. That's what baby box turtles do, baby turtles in general. When I find baby wood turtles in the wood turtle enclosures, they're always under a grass, they're always under a stick or something where nothing can see them. And I guess they just eat things that come by. Sometimes you'll see them walking around, but they know that there's that high risk when they're out in the open. So these turtles like to burrow. And we have dirt in here. It's only like 1 inch thick, so they will burrow, which can also help regulate temperature. But these turtles are very simple. You need a heat lamp, and you could put another one on the other side with a UVB, but you put the heat lamp on the one side of the aquarium so the heat is here, and if the turtle wants to move over into the cooler side, it's not going to be as bad. It's going to be maybe 80 degrees here, maybe 95 to 100 over there. So it can actually move around and control and regulate its own temperature just in case it gets hot. It also has the water dish. But UVB is very important for baby turtles. I actually don't raise many of my turtles with UVB, my baby turtles, but I do give them natural sunlight. I put them outside, when I can. But I like to get these turtles to a couple inches before they come outside. Once they get to a couple inches, they'll go outside. I'll put them in a side pen and they just stay outside, and then I'll just feed them. And then once they get to, maybe 3 inches, they'll go out with the adults. So one other thing I want to talk about is diet. There's a lot of people understanding box turtles and what the best food item is for them. A lot of them go to brand name foods, which some of them are good, like Missouri turtle pellets are fine, but I don't recommend that as a regular source of food. I like to try and go as natural as possible, so I think the best thing would be Canadian night crawlers. There are several other types of worms that are available, but I probably would advise not to feed them. Once in a while, a waxworm isn't a bad idea, but they're not the biggest. Sometimes they'll eat them and they'll go after them, but then they get sick of them real fast. So the two best food items that I use are Canadian night crawlers, and I'll cut them up with scissors so they're in real thin bite-sized pieces, and I'll put them over here in the water dish, and then I'll put the turtles in the water dish when I feed them, and they will pretty much go to town. I also get small crickets, 1/4-inch crickets, and I'll dust them with calcium, so they all got white powder on them. They're running around. They stand out like a sore thumb, and the baby box turtles just love chasing them down in the enclosure. But look at how adorable these little guys are, and it's the setup is so easy. It's just a matter of doing your research and finding what is ideal for them, where they come from, their habitat. You want to try and mimic their natural environment if possible. Now, box turtles are woodlands turtles. They prefer the woods and the marsh, or not the marsh, the fields and the meadows. And they will go into some marshes, though. They will go into ponds and puddles at times, especially when it's raining, because when it's raining, they're very active. But you got to really watch these turtles for fungus, and also them burrowing and not coming out, because sometimes they will burrow and not come out because the temperature is too hot or it's too cold, okay? Or it's just too dry. So you got to kind of sometimes take the turtle out, wake it up, put it in a dish of water, and try and wake it up, or you can use a spray bottle, mist them down for a little bit. I like to mist them or give them some sort of soak at least a couple times a week, and then I'll pretty much feed them right in the water, or even right after, as it wakes them up. But this is a real simple enclosure. This is only a 10-gallon tank, guys, and I didn't really put many plants in here. You could put more. You put another one here, another one here. Make them feel like home. Make them feel comfortable. Give them some things to hide under. They're not going to even realize that they're in captivity, especially if the enclosure is big enough. You can get big 30-gallon, 40-gallon tanks, but I advise that if you can, since most box turtles, North American box turtles, can tolerate the cold. You got three toads, Floridas, Gulf Coast, Easterns, ornates, they can all take the cold. That if you can put your turtle outside at some point, once it gets to the safe range, I like to say 2.5 to 3 inches would be the safe size to put them outside. Once they get that size, I feel like it's letting them brumate or hibernate outside is no problem at all. Now, with the hatchlings, you got to worry about birds. You got to worry about bullfrogs. If there's a pond nearby, or a pond in your enclosure. I know a lot of people have box turtles in enclosure that have ponds and stuff, so you never know. But you just want to make sure that you give your baby box turtle the benefit of the doubt. So that's why I say, hey, keep it in the aquarium, raised inside. But once it gets to a few inches, put it outside, guys. You got sun, natural sunlight, natural, environment. And like you can see in my backyard, guys, I've got so many different types of plants scattered throughout. This is the North American wood turtle enclosure. And you can't even really see the water over here because there's so many plants. And that's exactly what they see in the wild. They wander up on land in the drier time of the summer, midsummer. They come out of the water and they'll just burrow and they'll hide underneath the grasses, but they feel safer in and around this grass here versus standing out in the open, which a predator could get to them. So, but if you can put your turtles outside, that'd be ideal. We want to get them natural sunlight, and I think it's a healthier scenario for the animal to survive and just live a healthy life. If you got any questions, you can feel free to make some comments, or you can also hit me up in the DMs of Reptastic Adventures on Instagram. But I hope that this answered some of your questions. If you still have more questions, feel free to reach out. I'd like to make sure everybody is doing the right thing and raising their turtle properly. And in case you haven't already, like, subscribe, and I hope you guys are going to keep coming back and watching more videos here at this wonderful Reptastic Adventures backyard sanctuary that I've made with all these amazing animals, turtles and tortoises all over the place. I love it, and hopefully the captive breeding that we do and other people and keepers do help bring back some of the numbers of these amazing animals, and we prevent anything from going extinct or even more endangered. We'd like to keep increasing the numbers of different species, so the best way is by the private sector doing or creating reassurance colonies with their breeding, which is why I'm doing this here. I'm breeding baby box turtles, well, breeding box turtles to get babies, and it is just so joyful. I love it, and I hope everybody else is able to do what I do and bring new life into this amazing world.